All right, Andy, I have a very important question for you.
Okay,
When you
I'm ready.
think of Korea, what is the food that comes to your mind first?
Well, of course, kimchi
Of course,
comes to
kimchi.
mind.
When you were living here, what was something that you really enjoyed eating while here?
Um, I ate bibimbap a lot. That was something that I really enjoyed. Um, I ate like kimchi jjigae a lot, kimchi soup.
Yeah,
I don't
so the
know.
basic like soups you would say are probably the most
Oh,
popular or the most like representative of the country, right?
oh yeah, you eat soup at every single meal.
Yeah, soup and rice. But
Yeah.
according to this article, Korean fried chicken is picked as the most popular Korean dish among foreigners. Which, like,
Okay.
I read that headline and I had to stop and I had to think about that. And I was like, wait a minute, fried chicken is now the most popular food among foreigners in Korea. And it just like the 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 dissonance between those two statements like blew my mind. Where I don't get it. Well, let's look at this first. It says that the Korean style fried chicken has been selected as the most popular Korean dish by foreign customers, and it was a survey of 8,000 local residents in 16 major countries. And at first, I'm like, that just tells you that people don't like Korean food. Like, isn't that the first indication that they would rather choose a sort of Western inspired food rather than like the bibimbops or the chigays or like isn't that a
Yeah.
negative? Why are people why are why is the Korean press celebrating this? I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that that's pretty normal, actually. I'm really not surprised that they're advertising this because any way that you can promote Korea is a good thing in their eyes. For example, with K-pop, they think that they're dominating the whole entertainment sector of the world. Any way that they can possibly promote themselves, which there's not a bad thing at all. But what's funny is that they use an American inspired dish to promote themselves. And I think that they've done that in the past. And when I say they, I mean like the the Korean public in general.
Ministry of
But it is
Culture
pretty,
and them.
yeah. I think it is pretty funny because it's 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 kind of sad too because it's like losing the Koreanness
Yeah, totally.
of
That's another thing. It's like it's so it is sad or I don't know what other word to use. But it's just like this yeah, Western inspired food. And what is Korean style chicken? Like what does that even mean? Like fried chicken is fried chicken. Like you can use different spices and such, but like what would you describe as Korean fried chicken?
um I think the major difference is the sauces that they use because you can get like any sauce on fried chicken.
Yeah.
Like it's not that it's different fried chicken, it's just the different sauces, which I got to admit the sauces are pretty good. And even my family when they came to Korea when I was there and we had fried chicken, they're like, "Dang, this is some good shit."
Yeah.
But um it's really not that different as far as the chicken goes. I think that it's just something that, again, it's popular because it's fried chicken. I mean, fried chicken's popular everywhere. But when they see a bunch of foreigners eating it and then they're like commenting on the sauces and stuff, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's Korean." It kind of reminds me when I was talking to one of my old students and I was teaching them the names of fruit, and we talked about banana, and then one of my students was like, "Oh, banana, banana. There's an English word that came from Korea." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Banana is an English word." But he thought that because it sounds like how you say banana in Korean. And
Wow.
so I think that it's just it's kind of that thing. Koreans in general, I think, are really they have such a strong sense of national pride, which is great. It's awesome. But they just whenever they can, they try to advertise the greatness
Yeah. Well,
however
it
they
cracks
can.
me up because like the whole thing with kimchi and bibimbap is the healthiness of it and how all
Oh
the
yeah,
side dishes are so healthy for you. But then when you look at the Korean fried chicken sauces, like those are the most unhealthy and sodium packed things on earth.
MSG Central.
It is. It's like, oh God. And so like when I was reading this article, it just I felt like the two parts of my brain were not connecting. Where it was like I've been force fed that kimchi is like a cancer cure because it's so
Oh yeah,
healthy, but at the
yeah,
same time, like oh wow, Korean fried chicken is now like the most well known Korean food in the world, and it's like wait what? What is going on?
yeah. That's well, and it's so funny too. I was talking to my wife uh, just today, and she's like, "Gosh, we got to eat more Korean food." I'm like, "Well, why?" And she's like, "Because it's healthier." Like that is what everyone thinks about Korean food, and I mean, they're kind of right. Traditional Korean food is just full of veggies and no sugar. It definitely is healthy if you're eating traditional Korean food. And she has a lot of pride about Korean traditional food, but this is not Korean traditional food.
Yeah. The problem is like now there's a lot of instant Korean food which is all sodium. So like
Oh
even
yeah.
my wife and I, we can't eat some of the delivery food we get or we can't finish it all cuz it's
Mm,
so salty and
yeah.
just oh man. It's the whole thing about it being healthy I think has passed. And so people have to start realizing especially I see some kids now like elementary and middle school kids, they're they're a little bigger, I'll say, compared to what we've seen in the past. So
Well, yeah, I think the same thing has happened in other parts of Asia, like Okinawa. It was always this renowned kind of health capital of the East, and now there's McDonald's everywhere in Okinawa, and the obesity rates have just like skyrocketed. So
yeah,
I think it is sad, but it definitely doesn't surprise me that they're kind of grabbing onto something that brings their country pride or national pride or international um, kind of views,
hmm.
as you could say.
I think
So,
the short term pride is definitely trumping the long term consequences of this
oh,
kind of
definitely,
yeah.
definitely, 100%.
All right.
Well,